Hello guys, welcome to the video lecture on Introduction to Accounting. So our topic in today's video is about trial balance assignment. Let's go through this example. Extracted the following trial balance as on 31st of March 2011. You are asked to redraw it to the extent that is wrong. The entire trial balance need to be reframed. So the ledger account balances has been given and has been posted either on the debit or the credit column. Now what is most significant and important in this particular problem is that you are asked to redraw it to the extent that is wrong. So only those ledger balances which has been wrongly posted either on the debit or the credit column, I again repeat, wrongly posted, required to be corrected. You need not need to redraw the trial balance again. So it's being mentioned that the entire trial balance need to be reframed. You again need not need to do the entire trial balance and thereby correcting the mistake. What you have been asked? You have only been asked to correct the wrong ledger posting which has been done either on the debit or the credit column. So if we only correct the ledger account balances which has been wrongly posted either on the debit or the credit column, then we know because of insufficient information my trial balance will not tally. Because it has been asked that you are asked to redraw it to the extent that is wrong. So correct ledger account balances will not come in my solution. Then how I am going to make my trial balance tally? Now, in order to solve such kind of a problem, we require to follow two steps. So how to solve such kind of a problem? Step 1 is to find out the total of debit and credit which has been given in this particular problem. And since there are certain wrong ledger account posting which has been done on in the trial balance with reference to debit and credit, so your trial balance will not tally. So you will have a different debit and a different credit total. Step 2 is to find out the mistakes which has been done by the accountant while preparing this particular trial balance. So let's understand step 1. So if we have gone through the debit and the credit column, we find the total of debit is 77,180, whereas the credit total is 77,300, and it's quite natural that the total of debit and credit will not tally because there are certain mistakes which are there in the ledger account balances posted either on the debit or the credit side. Now step 2 is identification of the mistakes which has been done. So let's take one by one into consideration. The highlighted ones are the mistakes which has been done by the accountant. So let's go through each and every. So capital on 1st of April previous year, this was the introductory capital. Now capital, as you are aware of, will be a liability, will be credit. Additional capital, so the capital which you have brought in at the very beginning and thereafter any additional capital introduced during the year is basically a liability only. So it has to be credited. So this is the first mistake. Number 2 is, so interest received thereon to the date of sale, rupees 50. Now you are aware of that interest received is an income. And as per the rules of trial balance, any income and gains has to be credited. So interest received has to be credited. It has been debited. Loan taken from bank during the year, rupees 3,000 is also highlighted. Why? Because loan taken from bank is a liability. And any form of liability has to be credit. It has been debited. So it's a mistake. Premises, 7,000 on the debit side, it's an asset. It has to be recorded on the debit side, it's correct. Fixture, 1,000 rupees on the debit side. Fixture is an asset, it's right on the debit side. Sales, 50,000 on the credit side, it's right because sales is revenue. Coming in, income on the credit side, it's okay. Purchase expense, 35,000, debit side, right. Return inward, what is return inward? That means you have sold and the goods have returned back. Sales is credit, sales return has to be debited. So it's on the debit side, rupees 600. Return outward is purchase return. That means you have purchased and thereafter you are returning it back. So return outward has to be credited. It's on the credit side of rupees 1,800. Office and administration charges is 7,400 is an expense, has to be debited. It's on the right side. Selling and distribution charges, again highlighted. Why it is highlighted? Because selling and distribution charges is an expense and loss has to be debit as per the trial balance rule. It has been recorded on the credit column. So it's a mistake. Discount received again is a gain, has to be on the credit side because any kind of income and gains has to be on the credit side. It has been recorded on the debit side, is a mistake. Debtors is an asset on the debit side, correctly recorded. Creditors, 6,500 on the credit side. Creditor is a liability, has to be on the credit side, so it's correct. The next highlighted point, proceeds, sale of old fixture. So any kind of sale has to be credited. Now it has been debited, so it's a mistake. Rent received from sublets of part of the premises, rupees 150. So rent received is an income, has to be recorded on the credit side, wrongly recorded on the debit column. Cash in hand is an asset, correctly recorded on the debit side. Bank overdraft is a liability, has to be recorded on the credit side, has been wrongly recorded on the debit side. And opening stock 7,200 on the debit side, which has been correctly recorded, because opening stock is an asset, has to be recorded on the debit side only. So we have identified the mistake, which is step 2. Now in our solution, we start on with the wrong trial balance total, as we have found out, which was 77,180 on the debit side, and the credit total was 77,300. So our first highlighted point is with respect to additional capital of rupees 2,000, which should have been on the credit side. Now this 2,000 rupees has been recorded on the debit side. So we require to remove rupees 2,000 from the debit side and introduce rupees 2,000 on the credit side. Because the debit total, the current debit total is more by rupees 2,000. And the credit total, since we haven't posted 2,000 rupees on the credit side, so the credit total is short by rupees 2,000. So additional capital, which is a liability, has been wrongly posted on the debit side of the trial balance. And that is the reason why 2,000 is included within 77,180 has to be removed. So we have subtracted minus 2,000 from the debit column. So we have deducted 2,000 rupees from 77,180 and have added 2,000 rupees on the credit column. So we have added 2,000 rupees to 77,300. Interest received, being a part of income, has to be credited. So wrongly gone to the debit side. So we have to remove from debit side. So minus 50 from debit. And we have to introduce it on the credit side, so plus 50 on the credit side. Third point, loan taken from bank during the year, 3,000 rupees, has to be on the credit side. So we deduct it from the debit and introduce the figure on the credit column. Selling and distribution charges is an expense, should not be on the credit side. So we have deducted it from the credit side and introduced it on the debit side. Discount received of rupees 200 is basically an income, should be going on the credit side. So we have subtracted it from debit and introduced it on the credit side. Similarly, proceeds sale of old fixtures of 40 rupees has to be recorded on the credit side. So we have introduced on the credit side and subtracted from the total of debit. Similarly, rent received from subtenants or sublets as a part of the premises of rupees 150, same treatment, being a part of income, has been recorded on the credit side as plus 150, has been deducted from the total of debit column in the trial balance. Lastly, bank overdraft, similar case, has to be recorded on the credit side. So it has been recorded on the credit side by introducing plus 3,500 on the credit column, and we have deducted the amount from the debit column. So once we have adjusted all possible ledger account balances which has been wrongly recorded either on the debit or the credit side, now we require to make the total of trial balance. And once if we make the total of the trial balance, we'll see the trial balance right now will tally. So I hope you have understood the concept of how to draw a trial balance without redrawing it completely. So we have only worked on the mistakes which are there, and we did not need to reframe the entire trial balance. I hope the concept is clear. Till then, thank you. Have a nice day.